my friends. Today we're talking about the Lost Okoroshi, a trailer for a Nollywood film that a Nigerian buddy of mine told me about very recently. Now, there's a lot to talk about just in the trailer alone. For now, let's focus on the title of the movie itself, The Lost Okoroshi. The masquerade known as Okoroshi comes from the Igbo people of Nigeria. From what I have read in the book A History of Art in Africa, whose authors include Vijonia, Ponyer, Cole, Harris, Abiodun, and Blair, there are regional variations on the masquerade, so keep that in mind while I describe the event. So, you know the age-old trope of light and darkness opposing each other? Well, that's basically what the Okoroshi masquerade deals with. But it's not as simple as the light side is good and the dark side is evil. The masks of light represent women and the masks of darkness represent men. The light side of the force, the Okoroshi, embody beauty and purity and village, safety, daytime, order, clarity, calm, and peace. As for the dark side, it signifies ugliness, dirtiness, bush, wilderness, nighttime, chaos, mystery, danger, and conflict. Both, however, are water-giving life spirits. The masqueraders perform for 6 weeks during the height of the rainy season. The female water spirit masks come from calm cumulus clouds. They dance in a large area for all to see. Their entertaining songs are about love, wealth, and beauty. These masks are relatively small in number. The dark masks, however, are represented by many masqueraders. These water spirits descend from the gray storm clouds. The dark mask can be quite diverse in both looks and names. The names of the masks can derive from plants, animals, weather, emotions, behaviors, abstract ideas, proverbs, and more. In other words, the dark masks reflect much of life itself. Among the dark masks exists a hierarchy. Most are young, relatively weak spirits, whom usually chase around women and children, but on some occasions will chase men too. They can also get into some other antics as well. The older and more powerful dark masks emerge towards the season's end. They come with an entourage of unmasked male followers who carry clubs through the community as they sing a mournful song about war. Now, my book happens to end its description of the performance at this part, but you may remember how I said earlier that the Okoroshi masquerade varies in different regions. Another description of an Okoroshi masquerade can be found on the University of Iowa's website, and it states that the powerful old dark mask and his club-wielding followers seek confrontations with other powerful masks from neighboring villages. In the past, these meetings led to real fights. That version of the Okoroshi masquerade has obviously a much more violent climax than the former one described. It's worth noting that in the old days, the strong, dark masks had roles in social regulation. For example, levying fines and seizing property from criminals was part of its duty. Another thing to note is that despite the seeming divide of light and dark, beauty and beast motif of the Okoroshi masquerade, said order is purposely violated by certain masks. This is shown by the fact that a number of dark masks actually have female names. And of course, the white masks can also break the gender norms. One white mask bears horns, a black beard, and wears short pants of a man. Hey, in defense of my laughter, short pants is just a funny-ass word to say. Anywho, the most famous gender-bending mask of them all is called Paddle. Isn't that a cute name? He or she is the only masker that sings and speaks. Now, I have a sneaking suspicion that at least one viewer is thinking, Justin, didn't you just talk about singing? Yes,
but those were unmasked followers doing the singing, not the masks. Anyway, unlike the other white masks who dance during the day, Paddle makes his or her appearance at nighttime. Paddle is thought to be simultaneously an old wise man and a young foolish virgin. Paddle's goal is to move from compound to compound during the final night, singing praises of the great families of the village and bless all pregnant women. Paddle is a great example of how the Okoroshi Masquerade shows us a more complex view of the world. The Okoroshi water spirits give blessings to the yam crops and ready the community for the presentation of the new yam. Said yam is eaten ceremonially on the day after the Okoroshi have returned to the clouds in the sky. Ultimately, the Okoroshi come to aid in the fertility of the land and the fertility of humans. That is the religious function, but as we've seen, they have a social function as well. And part of that is to comment on gender roles and gender behavior. And finally, the masquerade shows the light and the darkness of the world, but it also shows that not everything is so opposite of each other, and that life is more complicated and gray. So my friends, I hope you enjoyed learning about the Igbo's Okoroshi Masquerade. As for how much inspiration this movie takes from the real world masquerade, that I can't say, because as I was recording this, the movie hasn't come out yet. The movie will come out on August 20th, and I've been recording this video during the time beforehand. What I will say is that in the trailer I did see some nods to the Igbo culture, but also I noticed that they chose to use a large number of masks that are not Igbo at all. I'll probably dive deeper into this on a future episode, but for now, what I will say is that this isn't inherently a bad decision, because with the Black Panther, we have many different cultures being represented, and you all know I love Black Panther, but on the other hand, it's also not necessarily a good thing to mix up African cultures either, so we will have to see whether this movie does it in a good way or not. Anyway, having said all that, let's leave on a positive note. The movie's story looks neat, the acting is good, and yeah, comes out on the 20th apparently. I looked on the website, maybe I'm just bad at navigating websites or something, but I couldn't really figure out where the heck it's being shown. I just hope it comes out on Netflix, because that's where I do all my movie watching these days. But yeah, I hope it's a good movie. And that's all for now, folks. If I do another video in the future, it'll probably be about the main character's mask. And if you're new to the channel, I do lots of African educational videos. And if you're looking specifically for videos about movies and how I can relate those to Africa, well, you've heard me already talk about Black Panther. And I've also had a video about The Burial of Kojo. That's another African movie. That was a good one. Though that one was a straight up review. I didn't really talk too much in terms of educational stuff. Oh, I did a review about the Avengers, and I wound up sneaking some educational African stuff in there, believe it or not. Something about Ethiopia, if I remember right. Watch the video. You'll see what I mean. And what else did I do? Oh yeah, Superman. I related a Superman movie to Africa. Why? Because I can relate anything to Africa. Just trust me. I can make any conversation about Africa. I can also do the same thing with Zelda. I can make any conversation be about Zelda. Alright, so if you want to learn about African art and culture, you know what to do. Click that subscribe button.